Oh man, I love coming into that song, that Monday Mistress song, "Run." I think it's a damn cheery song, if you might ask me.
Gets my blood pumping.
Blood. That's how it is. Hey everybody, my name is Joe.
And I am Carolyn.
You guys are listening to the podcast that's going to save the world one podcast at a time, the Carolyn and Joe Show. My name is Joe Carabeo. I'm a filmmaker, photographer, a writer, a musician. But today I'm also a podcaster that is trying to change the world one episode at a time. And across from me in her soundproof booth, for everyone who knows her, the Curls comic strip cartoonist extraordinaire, trying to change the world one comic strip at a time. Her name is Carolyn Belefski. How you doing, Carolyn?
I'm doing great.
So cutting right to the chase.
Cut it.
The movie. This is, it's supposed to be Star Wars weekend. It is definitely, everyone's out there watching The Last Jedi. Why not? It's a great franchise. People love it. But just this morning, Carolyn already saw the movie last week, but just this morning, I have finally seen and witnessed in an awesome theater The Shape of Water by Guillermo del Toro. I've been waiting to see this movie for a really, really long time.
That's true. I have been also anticipating it ever since I knew they were making it.
When I saw this trailer, I was like, and I knew it was coming out this time, I was like, this is it. I'm going to watch this. This is a must. Yeah, all these other great movies and superheroes, whatever. But this is a must for me because Guillermo del Toro, there's something about his honest love for cinema, and he's also amazing.
He just seems like a brilliant person.
See, because you have what do you call them? The three amigos, the directors, Inarritu and I think Alfonso Cuarón and Guillermo del Toro, the three amigos, the three filmmakers from Mexico, the damn greatest, most inspiring filmmakers for me today. You may know them from Birdman. You may know them from The Revenant or Gravity, Children of Men. And Guillermo del Toro, you know him from Blade 2. Hellboy 1 and 2. Pacific Rim. Pan's Labyrinth. Mimic. The Devil's Backbone. Such great films. All three of those guys are amazing at what they do. And it's just such a visual, and to me, it's something that's different than I wouldn't say cookie cutter, but just the trademark American films that's happening today. And when I saw the Shape of Water, because I was anticipating Guillermo del Toro's next film, it's going to be Pacific Rim, or because after that he made what is it, the Crimson Tide?
Peak?
Crimson Peak. He made Crimson Peak. And then I thought is it going to be Pacific? Is it going to be Pacific Rim 2? But it was The Shape of Water. And I saw that trailer. So describe this trailer, Carolyn.
Well, there's a few out there because I actually stopped watching trailers. I, of course, see them when the movie comes on, like before a movie. But I think that there are a couple commercials out there that I saw for Shape of Water that were a little different. Because one I thought was the overall theme was more of a romance between a woman who, I don't know if you could tell in the commercial or not, but she lacks the skill to talk, so she's mime, I guess.
No, she's a mute.
A mute.
No, a mime is the face, the white face one.
Well, I knew it started with an M, but okay, so she's mute, and I think I could get that through the first trailer that I saw. So she had something abnormal about her, and then you see that she is fallen for a fish man. And it's in some type of facility. And to me, that seemed more of like a romance. And then there was the fish vibe that obviously people were gearing that towards the character Abe from Hellboy. Even though I know it's not Abe, but people were connecting. There is a connection. And then the second trailer that I thought I saw seemed more dangerous. It seemed more like a heist. And so there are two vibes to the movie. I guess it depends which one people are seeing or what they're experiencing or what they're hearing. But I feel like both reflect the movie, but in different ways of interpreting it.
Now, I'd like to preface this also for people who are listening on Facebook Live that we are we're gonna talk about this movie, and we are gonna have spoilers. I guess because we're gonna talk about it, and I don't want to like.
Yeah, I feel like this is gonna be.
I don't want to soft punch it, and I don't want to do a jab. I want to do an uppercut with this review, with this conversation about the Shape of Water, because it's worth it. So there's gonna be spoilers.
Yeah, we can't talk code.
But I feel like it's also like when you find out about the movie, it's gonna even make you want to see it even more. So I'm just preparing you guys. We're gonna dive right into it. I'd like to just
first off say, before you keep listening though, I would go see it.
Yeah, go see it. Go see it the moment you hear this episode that's about to happen, and then maybe join us in the conversation and send us a message afterwards, and we can continue talking this conversation or not. I will flat out and say that I freaking love this movie. As soon as this movie was done, as soon as I watched the end credits, in which when I saw like the thank yous at the end of the thank yous, and I even posted this on my Instagram stories, I was like, I even love the thank yous in this. Aww. Because if you see the list of people who are thanked on this movie,
yeah.
So these several names already strung out at me as this is the list of today's filmmakers that I freaking love. The directors that I love. And on the first one, you know, I mean, I'm gonna say what you will, but Avatar, James Cameron was the first one.
I did see his name.
Greatness. And then further down, then after that, Alfonso Cuarón, and then Inarritu. And then after that, you had the Coen brothers. I was like, those are everybody, man. Those are all the filmmakers today that are keeping me going strong and inspiring me. So I was like, that even made me love it. But I'll flat out say, this movie, instant classic. This is such an instant classic right now. This movie, it doesn't matter what era of the world or what country this movie will connect. I loved it. It is so strong visually, poetically, and just genre cutting. It defied every genre that you can possibly cut out, that you can just put this movie into. You have suspense. You have it's Del Toro, so you're gonna have the violence and the I wouldn't say gore, but you would have the graphic elements of it. It's a graphic movie. It's a fairy tale. It literally is a graphic fairy tale, you know? Mm-hmm. And what's really cool about it too is, to me, it has that classic, because there are so many documentaries or so many movies, or not movies, but shows that have what's it called? That have, you know, interviewed Del Toro and gone to it because he released a book and he goes to his house. So there's so much praising. He has so many props and so many books and stuff from classic horror movies like The Wolfman and you know, like all that. He's so in love with that type of genre. And what's amazing is he's able to purely understand what makes these movies work. And the fact is, you have the heart. And I mean, though you have the violence and you have the scariness and you have the darkness, but you also have that pure, that real heart, not that fake romance heart, but the heart of understanding people, you know, like two characters that need each other, not just characters that are like, well, I guess they look pretty, so they fall in love and then they go escape. It's like these people like fill a gap into each other, and then that's why they're connected.
And there's an authentic story behind their relationship.
Yeah, there's reason and being, connection. And what's really amazing about The Shape of Water is it does have that classic horror, like horror monster, you know, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Frankenstein, you know, like those
Swamp Thing.
Not Swamp Thing.
Oh.
Swamp Thing's a comic book character. It wasn't around back then.
But it's like a classic horror.
It's like but Swamp Thing was a part of that.
He isn't?
No.
Well, I don't know.
But like Frankenstein and the like literally like those classic ones like the Wolfman and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Where you have like, oh, it's the sea creature from the dark side, you know. Like,
have you seen the original Creature from Black Lagoon?
I don't think so. I've seen clips of it.
I know they were playing it at Alamo Drafthouse. They were actually playing it for free.
No, definitely. Oh yeah, that's right.
I think it was like Victory members. But I guess like back to your original question about the trailer, I actually did see one recently that I think is a third one. I'm not really keeping track, but I feel like it was giving away so much, and I had to like I think it was like right after I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it's like whoever's doing the marketing behind that, it was almost like a little much for me. It wasn't as like surprising, in terms of like. You keep the trailer more mysterious. I feel like the first ones that were coming out were really mysterious. Like you could really just show like water and like bubbles and stuff and like
and just like barely the creature.
Yeah, and
like
make people think. But like the last one I saw was showing like
just
all
the
the creature
and all that stuff. Yeah,
and I was like, wow. And they showed like almost the end scenes too, and I was like, wow, they're really showing.
But we don't know
a lot of the film.
But we don't know the end scenes and stuff like that as viewer.
I
benefit from the fact of like I don't. Even if I have commercials at this point, I DVR almost like everything that I do watch, so everything's just like forwarded.
Well, sometimes what I do now is because ever since I saw No Country for Old Men, I saw that like knowing nothing going into it, and I enjoyed it so much. I stopped watching all the trailers. I stopped like religiously reading Entertainment Weekly, and I feel like I enjoy stuff more now. And I was like an avid reader of like taking everything in before I went. And it kind of spoils things for me. So now it's almost like I feel like I'm the type of personality that I know I'm going to like something pretty instantly. And when I first heard of Shape of Water, I was like, oh my God, it's just a movie for me. Falling in love with a fish man, I'm in. Like,
so what's
because I liked Abe a lot from Hellboy. And I know that Del Toro tweeted like, it's not Abe, stop asking, like stuff like that. So I know it's not him. But if you do notice at the end credits, spoiler alert, that it says amphibian man ... Doug Jones.
I didn't see the ...
No, there weren't actually any ... but when you scroll across, it's like it said amphibian man Doug Jones.
But it's the same guy that plays that.
I know, so I was like, so it is Abe, like in my head.
But it's not Abe, but it is. What's a character?
It's not Abe, but it is Abe.
So what's really cool? I guess we just break it down, just talk about the movie from the very beginning. I mean, even in like the opening of the movie, since it's a little fresher in my mind, it starts almost like it's a narrator that's already telling you, and I think it's the main character's friend that lives across the way. Mm-hmm. So a lot of story does
the illustrator.
The illustrator. So I've now forgot her name. It's not Zelda. Elise. Well, yeah, it's Elise, right?
Don't know.
Look it up real quick so you can find these characters.
Because I actually never checked IMDb after I saw it. I told myself I would, but then I haven't.
No, just check the characters. If you just Google it real quick, you can find the characters' names. Shape of Water.
I'm trying to do it right now. Are you doing it too?
It'll be real fast, so we just get the.
Oh, okay.
Then
I'll put my phone away.
It'd be nice just to get the list of names.
The character names.
The character names, yeah.
Well, the only person that really says the main character's name is the black lady she's working with. Because she doesn't say she's mute, so she never like introduces herself and such.
I guess it's Elisa Espinito. Well, I think what's really cool is that like Del Toro.
It's
Eliza. So what's really cool is that like Del Toro does. He's Mexican, so he does throw in the multicultural names. It's actually very, very multicultural. It's like beyond. It's a lot of that because there's so many different cultures and different types of sexuality happening in this. Mm-hmm. What was really shocking to me? Not really shocking, but like it introed me of what type of movie we're getting into. Like the very open scene.
Flooded.
Yeah, you start with the flood. Like it's a room. It's it's not part of the story, but it's
the fantasy.
But it's like an opening credit sequence, pretty much, and like everything's drowned in water. It's like the apartment's drowned in water, but then you watch everything settle back down. Like all the apartment pieces like settle back down, and she was floating in the water, but then she lands on the couch and she's sleeping and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. That almost might have been a metaphor for her mental state. She was dreaming that she was in the water. That could have been what that really was. Mm-hmm. But right off the bat, it goes like, you go to her daily routine before she starts her day, and it goes right into literally she takes off her clothes and Eliza's naked, and then she just goes and starts masturbating in the tub, and I was like, wow. we're going right into it. But it's all like this beautiful, like, because Del Toro's colors and fantasy and even the use of sound, it wasn't like graphic. Like, it wasn't like, wow, we're literally seeing it, but literally the profile shot of her in the tub, and then she just lifts her leg. I mean, you see her like take off her clothing and then go into the tub, and then like you see her like relax into the tub, and then and then she lifts her right leg on a profile shot, and you just hear a little splashing of moving water, and you're like, oh, cool, she's going at it.
Yeah, at first I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
but,
I wasn't expecting that either. At that moment, I was like, okay, we're in for anything now. If this is the type of movie Del Toro's doing.
He's like, just to prepare you.
I was like, okay,
this is the first shot of her ever character.
Because I don't know if I've ever seen like a Del Toro movie that hits like sexuality in a way like that. I don't remember Pacific Rim definitely didn't hit anything like sexy in a way like at all. I don't know at all. Even Crimson Tide wasn't. I mean, there was some stuff, but it wasn't.
But there was brother sister love.
But it was, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of. But I guess they didn't show it.
Yeah, so like I was intro to that, and then immediately after that, you're into, you go through the courses of introducing the characters. She goes and she meets her. She meets her next door neighbor, who's a good friend. His name is Giles. He's painting, so he's a painter.
His name is Giles?
Yeah, his name is Giles.
Who is the actor that plays that? Because I was actually going to look that up.
Richard Jenkins is the actor.
Richard Jenkins. Isn't that like a DP?
I don't know. That's Roger Deakins.
Oh, Roger. Oh, he has like a similar name in my mind.
So you enter the characters, and then you get the girl from Fences. Like, that's her coworker.
Wait, is that the one from Fences or from Hidden Figures? Because I don't think that's the one from Fences.
I don't know.
I think it's from Hidden Figures.
It is.
I think you got the wrong black woman.
Octavia Spencer.
I don't think she's the one from Fences.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Because the one from Fences is like the one... Because I think she's from the Space Women.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hidden Figures, right?
Oh, she's in The Help as well. Okay. Sure, yeah, Hidden Figures. That makes sense.
I think you're thinking of somebody else.
Okay, so we're going... So, yeah, it doesn't matter.
But yeah. No, but, I mean, you can't group them all together, but I want to be more specific, just to be like, oh, yeah, one of those black chicks that are in, like, those 3 chicks that are in the movies.
So you're introduced to all these characters. You get establishing shots of all of, like, where she works. So she's at, like, I forget, just like...
It's like I guess some type of government facility. But like a hidden secret, like a CIA.
Like hidden CIA science facility. I just love the idea that it's like so casual. It's like, oh yeah, of course we have like, usually like in, say, like X-Files or... like X-Files or any type of like secret science thing, they add like they add a little more mystery to it.
Did they ever have a title of what building it was called?
Maybe, but I don't remember. But I remember, but like it's crazy because it literally is a story about like, so what happens if the janitors of the people in the secret science facility, it's like a story
like
about
the lowest
them.
quality denominator person.
It's amazing. It's because it literally is a story about them. It's not like, here comes the secret agents and they're coming to save the day. It's like, no, this is actually the story about the janitor who has to clean up after their mess.
Well, it's also pretty cool because we live in the DC area, so if you really think about it, you got to have those people that are cleaning up all the messes everywhere. So
did Shape of Water take place in DC?
It did not, but wasn't it Baltimore?
Is it Baltimore, or he lived in Baltimore, or something like that?
I believed it's Baltimore.
Was it Baltimore?
Yeah.
I remember he was like...
Because there was references.
Like, Baltimore has always been crappy town, or something like that.
Did you know what time period it was set in?
It's set in during like the I think the Cold War, because they're facing like the Russians. Mm-hmm. And so like there were like there's talks of Sputnik. So maybe the same era that the Crystal Skull from Indiana Jones was happening.
Okay.
But I think that's such an awesome angle, is like the janitor's POV.
Yeah, definitely. 'Cause I always wonder about that too, because there's obviously a lot of secrets in our town and all that, but it just makes you wonder about like, who are the people that are taking out the trash? What do they find and all that? Because I've been thinking about that for a long while. When I worked in DC, there was definitely like, I hate to say it, but I will. But there was definitely like the cleanup crew was mostly like black people at the place that I worked at, and they would always be hanging out on the lower level floor, because I would come down there occasionally, because they would have like, they had like a printing area where they would bound all the books, And then like they had people cutting paper, cutting posters and binding, kind of like a miniature Kinko's in the basement.
Yeah.
And then they'd also have like people making food down there and just people cleaning up, and all of that, like the help was like black people, you know. And it was funny because like most of the people working there were white people, so you know, it I don't think it meant like there was like a structure in terms of that, but it just happened to be like that.
Look, thinking about it now, there was sort of a structure.
Yeah,
because because in a way you had like I guess, you know, really the higher ups were white people, and then on the lower like the cleaning crew or whatever it was, because what was the other girl's name? Zelda.
Yeah, Zelda.
Zelda and Eliza, right? It's a Hispanic and it's a black lady.
I think it's Eliza.
It was a Hispanic and a black lady, you know, cleaning up the blood and mess and piss out of, like, you know,
the bathrooms.
In the bathrooms and stuff like that. There was even, that was actually one of the very first comments I remember out of Zelda's character is like her and Eliza are like cleaning up in the men's room, and they're like the most powerful, smartest and powerful men here in all the world, and yet they still can't get their piss into the toilet.
Yeah,
it's like she was like, there's piss on the ground, there's piss on the ceiling. What's up with this?
It's funny, like the building that I actually work in now, there's like, apparently, I don't go in the men's room obviously, but apparently from what I hear from the guys in the office, that there is pee everywhere. But I'm like, in my head, I'm like, why is it like that? Like, I don't know, like, how it works to have a dick, but it's also, like, to me, it just seems it shouldn't happen.
From my perspective, it shouldn't be that out of control. It's not like, look, I can't hold it in, guys.
Like, I just don't know how it's crazy. It's out of control. It's crazy.
All right, so let's break down the cast. I mean, look, we've already introduced the characters. What happens is, both Eliza and Zelda's character they're cleaning up the mess as a new specimen comes in, and it's Abe, or it's not Abe, but it's like it's the mermaid.
We should
character.
call him. It says amphibian male.
Yeah, so
right?
the amphibian man.
That's
comes
the name
in.
of it on the credits.
So the amphibian man comes in, you know, and Eliza is the first one out of the two to interact as like they're still cleaning up all the stuff that's happening, you know. They're making their wisecracks and stuff like that. And they're in the chamber with the tank, and it gets the amphibian man gets like wheeled in creature, but it's like in like a containment water test, like a water chamber tube,
like
thing.
A test tube but larger.
Yeah, and you get one of those dramatic moments as Eliza puts her hand on the water hand on the chamber, and all of a sudden like his head like springs out and everything goes crazy. So with that's like a jump scare. What genres would you say was in this? Because there's
I feel like it's a mix of everything. Because you obviously have that romance, then you have a lot of layers of suspense and chase and mystery, very much so, and it almost becomes like also protection of the creature.
Yeah.
It really does turn into like a thriller at some points in the movie. You lose, like, I feel like it's cool that Del Toro can push the strings and pull the levies of your mind, because at first it starts out like a romance, and then it kind of swerves into like this protection suspense thriller, and then it goes back to romance, and then it goes back to heist, you know, and then, you know, there's so many cool things about the film. And that's what I liked about it. The layers, the characters, the art direction, obviously. You know, his films are a feast for the eyes. And I also just like the character of the fishman personally. Like, I don't know if there's a fetish for fish or whatever, but I do like, whenever I see a fish, like, I don't know, it makes me happy to see a fish. And I don't know what it is about them. Like, I mean, they are kind of like, I know when you touch fish in real life, it's kind of like slinky and like, ugh, you know, but I just have a thing for fish. And I think personally, like, for me, that pleased me. I don't know if I could ever fall in love with a fish man or whatever, like this film was, but in a fantasy element, like, it showed that those two had a connection.
All right, so,
Eliza and the fish.
I'm going to break down the story real fast and as quick as possible, and then we'll go back and just like, you know, like itemize the stuff that we loved and the stuff that we felt like was, you know, just stuff that we really reacted to. So, so pretty much since that starting point, Eliza is curious and actually starts essentially building like a relationship with the amphibian man. Like she's in there cleaning at one time, and then the amphibian man shows up like in the tube and like runs away. Like there's like another tube where you can see him like swimming, and he walks up, and then from that point, like I guess during her lunch periods, she starts like building a relationship. She at first she like has a
eggs.
Yeah, she showcases like an egg. Oh, this is an egg. And since she doesn't talk, she shows with like sign language.
Yeah.
And then the amphibian man like takes it real fast. So it's really cool because you get to see they're building up the relationship, and then you see them start to build a connection. But then at the same time, she's also has a side story with her and her neighborhood apartment friend, Giles, who has a thing for the guy, I guess at the pie shop. And so it's this other thing. It's like, this cross story between her, she's building a relationship with the amphibian man with eggs and introducing music and just connecting, like without words. But then what's really interesting is in The Shape of Water is that Giles, the painter, is trying to connect with like this young hot dude at they're gay, but it's like this young dude who,
well, not they are,
or he is. Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah, but he likes dudes, so he's trying to find a way to talk to this guy, and he's not able to communicate properly with words, and I think that's such like a awesome contrast between those two things, and then what happens pretty much in the story with Giles, and it's sort of like. It's also a good sign of the times, is that there was one point where Giles is trying to sell his work to his client,
art director.
Yeah, to the art director, and then the art director.
He's a commercial illustrator.
Yeah, he's a commercial illustrator. Like during the time of Mad Men, pretty much.
Well, like I guess like when photography was coming into fashion, and they were trying to weren't using illustration as much, and it was very prominent at one time. Everything was illustrated in magazines, but then it went almost fully to photography. Yeah,
so during this time, he's trying to sell his work, and the art director is saying...
It was like Jell-O, right? Yeah. He was doing an ad for gelatin.
Yeah, and they gave like notes like, well, now the client wants it to be green. Green is what's in right now. We want green, so he has to go back, and he feels he has to redo it. But then like finally, when he goes back and fixes it again, they're like, it's not... And I think they have like a little...
history together.
Yeah, you can tell like, those two have like him and art director have history, and then when he finally brings the finished artwork of everything they wanted, he's like, no, it's not a good time, and like just implying that no, you can't selling it. They're going with photography instead. He goes back to he goes back defeated to the Pie Maker franchise, right? Mm-hmm. And then of course the pie guy, the pie seller, pie whatever, the bartender pie guy. He's like, oh, you did this. This is amazing. It's great. Like people have real good talent. And then like, now they're like sensing and bonding. Mm-hmm. They have that one mention. And then like, now they're like, like talking. And then all of a sudden, Giles he was like, "Oh yeah, it'd be really cool. Like it's cool when you guys. I can sense that you're here just for the conversation. You want to. I see you here all the time, and it's good talking to you." And then like Giles is like, he puts his hand on the pie dude's hand, and it's like, it'd really be awesome. Not awesome, but like I'd really love to learn more. I'd really love to learn more about you too. And then at that moment, he like pulls his hand back, like, "What are you talking about? What's your like?" He goes, "What's his problem?" And then a black couple comes in, and he like shuts those black couples down. Like, "Sorry, there's no seats are available. It's reserved all." And it's like, and they're like, "There's open seats
there's
everywhere."
Plenty of
it's
seats.
like just like you can just take to go, but you can't sit here. It's like immediately
commentary on racism,
and that's what in a way it's it's a commentary on being different, because it's like. Because it was racism, but then also he doesn't like, he's scared of being, like the gay part too. He doesn't dig that. I mean, that's not for him.
But at the gay part, like I don't feel like he was necessarily being bad about it. But I feel like it's not for him. He's not gay.
Remember that he kicked him out. Like after that, he's like after like being like that good bartender. Then he's like, actually
never come back.
Yeah, just never come back here. Just never come back here ever again. But also,
like if somebody were to touch your hand, you probably might have the same reaction, being like, "Whoa, what are you doing?"
Yeah, I'll be what the fuck, man. I'm like, by the way, I'm not gay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you might not be as harsh as him, but like, I mean, I guess you gotta make yourself clear if moves are made like that. You know.
So pretty much with that happening, Eliza finding out that they're trying to, she's in the room during one scene where like the general or someone like the higher ups come in and they have to decide on what to do with the amphibian man.
Yes.
And then the main, I guess, agent in charge is like, well, he's just an animal. We just cut him up and then we figure out what's inside.
No,
him.
you're talking about the Michael Shannon character.
Yeah, Michael Shannon character. He
who
was awesome.
Who was like so good, and he played
Richard Strickland.
Yeah. And like, first of all, I remember him from Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah.
And he was also
and Man of Steel.
He was also in Loving. See, I actually don't think of him as Zod, but
I think of him as Zod all the time.
He was a actually nice character in Loving.
Oh yeah, that's right, in Loving.
He was the photographer, and but I think of him as a very good villain. He plays a very good villain.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, his face is a villain. He has a chiseled. He has a very, very strong chiseled face. Like, I bet it's really hard for him to play a nice guy.
I mean, he was like, did you feel like he was nice and loving? Like,
I felt like there's moments where like, if I felt like he was like a spy, just because his disposition's always sort of like heavy.
Yeah,
or not heavy, but just like
he's a heel.
Stern. He's like.
But he did crack smiles.
But he feels like it wouldn't be out of character for him to like take a whip out and like try to beat someone.
Or like beat himself.
Yeah. But so he's the guy that's in charge of the amphibian man, bringing him into the lab.
And he
to
also
do tests.
didn't he find him in South America?
Yeah, so he tracked him down.
He's the one that caught him.
Yeah, he's the one that caught him in South America and did all that, and he brought him into the lab. So he's the one in charge. So he was the one that was also like, well, it's his deciding factor of what to do. Or one of those.
Well, he was talking to a general, too.
And there's someone that's high above him as well.
Like a war general. But, I have one more question. Just go really back to the commercial illustrator friend of Eliza.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the art director he was talking to, they might have had an actual romantic relationship?
I think so, definitely. They hinted at that.
They didn't really get into it much at all. And isn't that crazy?
That's probably why he got fired, because they hinted that, like, remember when they first introduced the characters, like, I'd love to come back. And he's like, it's not that, So it was like he was part of that company before. It felt like.
But also, what's crazy is that just through a simple conversation like that, you can get so much backstory.
Yeah, that was just 2 scenes. They just had 2 scenes,
and it was very quick. It was like in and out. You got all the information you need, and I find with character pieces like that, it really helps. And like, for example, just to like counter that is to bring up Baby Driver, which is also, I know, a favorite film of yours. But one thing about Baby Driver that was missing for me, which I thought the film was overall totally awesome, totally great. We can maybe talk about that in another episode of Carolyn and Joe Show while we're doing Podcember. But just to emphasize about the character meaning so much, the girl that he hangs out with in Baby Driver, like, I feel like she has such a big backstory, and they didn't dive into that at all. And I have questions about her from that film that could easily have been done in a moment, like how that art director scene was.
Yeah.
And so I would have just, like, for me, Baby Driver would have been, like, a lot better if they just had a few of her backstory moments, because otherwise she's just a girl that's like, hi, baby, I love you. It's just like, okay, well, why? Why do you love him? Like some guy you just meet all of a sudden, and you want to run away with him. There's got to be a backstory to that. And like, you can make up anything in your mind that will work, but it's just cool how I'm giving props to Del Toro, how his characters were so deep that just in one scene or a few sentences that you can gather so much information and then bring the story back to where it was.
So basically,
I think that's awesome.
So basically, while Giles is doing his art director story, which is, we're stretching it out now, but it really was only 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Before he went out to sell the second part of his art, not the second, but the updated part of this. Yeah, the revised part. Eliza is telling her the story about she's been telling him the story, like signing. Remember, she can't talk; she's a mute, but it's been telling him the story about the amphibian man. And then now she's telling him that they're gonna cut him up, and like that he shouldn't die. And to her, and then he's telling her the story, and he's trying to like make sense of it. It's like he was like she wants to get him out. She wants to bring him like to what's it called, plan an escape for him. But Giles at that point was like, no, you can't do it. Like he's not even human. That was the final line. He's not even human. Why should we even care? Like, stuff like that. And she went in this awesome speech of like, well, by not doing anything and not helping someone, then we're not human either. Like we're not even acting human if we're not helping. And I thought that was another like powerful scene. Like I just broke it down real simply, but it's like, what is human without being able to do such things? And then of course after Giles, after he had the horrible outing with the pie guy and his work, he comes back to the apartment and tells her like he's lonely. He has no one left, and he wants to help. He wants to help break the amphibian man out now.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such an awesome turn. Just those characters, such an awesome turn. So now it becomes like a heist movie.
Yeah, that's when it turned, and it was like, whoa, this is like going to be an adventure now.
Well, it's interesting because in the beginning you have the mystery. You have like, oh, this cool romance of Eliza and like the creature, and then all of a sudden it turns, and then now like she has to rescue the creature because they're gonna cut him up. But also there's like another side story of the guy from A Simple Man. He's in everything. I forgot what his name is now.
Oh yeah, yes, he is in everything. Yeah, Wasn't he in like a Will Smith thing when they were on the baseball field
like
or
Robert
something?
Hefner. Yeah.
What film was that? That you know what I'm talking about? With Will Smith.
I mean, he was also in Boardwalk Empire too.
He was. Wow.
Yeah. So that guy, he's a doctor.
He's everywhere.
He's a doctor, and he starts suddenly noticing. He's the one that like first realizes that Eliza is being able to communicate with the amphibian man. Yeah. So he finds out about their relationship, and then through that we find out that he's also a Russian spy who wants to either kill or take the amphibian man as well. He's like a spy for whatever the CIA agent. So you have all these different angles surrounding this character.
That would be the KGB.
Yeah, the KGB. And that was interesting too, because now he has some tension, because now he has to go back and he's communicating with the Russians, and then he has that sort of like, well, he realizes how special this creature is as well, because he can communicate and do all these things. And
then it gets to a level of like, actually, in a way, he fell in love with the amphibian man too.
Yeah,
but
he
respected it. Not in a romantic love, but a love for science.
Yeah.
And a love for the creature, and knowing that what they were doing to the creature was wrong.
So now the movie turns into a heist movie, which is amazing too, because it's really cool, because it's a very simple heist film, because like she finds there's a back way, like nothing was wasted. Like there were scenes before where Zelda is like down on the smoking with the boys in the garage, right?
The laundry chute. Yeah,
and they find like there's a camera that just finds the camera, and they say like, oh, this is the blind spot, and then like we just move it so they don't see us smoke, and then Eliza sees that, and then she finds out that that's also a back passage. So her plan is basically to break out the amphibian man and go through the back passage and head to the back to the get Giles to drive a car at the right time to do that.
And also what was cool is Giles used his talent as a commercial illustrator to hand letter the truck to make it look like the laundry was coming for cleaning services. Yeah. So he had all this beautiful hand done type painting on the car, which was really cool. And then also, to backtrack a little bit, Michael Shannon's heel character, man, wasn't that crazy though? This is like when you get the gruesome Del Toro into a nice romantic love story. Oh, and the point where the amphibian man attacks him, and like the whole thing with the fingers.
Oh yeah, that's even before all that too. That's before that. That's when you get to see how serious it is. There's that scene where they're both like just mopping up the floors, right? And then all of a sudden, with Eliza and Zelda are mopping the floors, and all of a sudden the chamber opens up, and then Michael Shannon's character comes out, like he's all like slowly like walking out, he's all bloody, and you realize like his fingers are missing, like two of his fingers.
And then they found his fingers when they were cleaning up.
Yeah.
And then they had to sew the fingers back on, and gradually throughout the film, his fingers were getting blacker and blacker. I was like,
and then there's also that. But remember, there's that other scene. You get to see his character's like home life too. Like his kids are all like, "Oh, how to see you, Daddy," and then like his wife is like, "I like to see you upstairs," and then like he's sitting on the bed and like thinking about like buying a new car. And then she's like undressing in front of him, and then she takes out her boob and puts his hand, like the messed up hand, like on her boob. I think
it was bandaged.
No, it's the other hand. His right hand. The other his messed up hand is his ring finger, so that's the left hand. And then she's like, "What about a Cadillac?" And you see his like right as his hand lands on her boob, and then
I think she was guiding her hand onto the boob.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then like you see, then it cuts to them like having sex missionary style, and he has like the wounded hand over her face, and then she's like, "Honey," well, like moaning, "Honey, like your hand you're bleeding on me," and he's like, "Quiet, I just don't want you to talk. Just no talking." And that's the moment where like I think he's into Eliza. So then you have that cross. He has that mute fetish into that.
Oh my
chick.
goodness, mute fetish. Is there a fetish for everything? Yes. But isn't that crazy though too, what he does with his fingers? I don't want to give it away on here, but I think those of you that saw the film, like, I mean, we're giving a lot away obviously, but he does something crazy with those fingers that were sewn back on, which was like,
it's the perfect payoff for it.
I was like, oh my god, like I almost had to do a 127 hours thing where I like squinted my face, so I was like,
how intense he really is as a human, like as that character, just like how far he would get. He doesn't fail. Remember, that was the phrase he had, he does not fail.
Yeah. But he delivers. He's I deliver.
But there was also, Michael Shannon had that scene with Eliza where I think like he purposely like spilled a cup of water, like a glass of water, and
so that she had to clean it.
Yeah, and then he's like, "I know you can't." He's like, "I know you can hear me, but you can't talk." And he was like saying how like, "Actually, I sort of like that. I really love that you can't talk." And he's like trying to like.
There's like some sexual harassment going on there.
Yeah, and then at that moment she like pulls away.
Yeah.
But like that was the when Michael Shannon gets into that. Well, actually, I sort of like that. It's like I don't know, can't do his voice.
But yeah, it was interesting. I mean, there was a lot of crossovers, like you're talking about, and I thought that's really cool. Like the film kind of wrapped itself up in a little bow, by the time it ended. And there was still some mystery to it too. Like it answered all the questions that you had, but by the end of the film, everything was really tied up in a nice bow. Yeah,
and of course, you all know not just to quickly phase through it. Yeah, they busted out the amphibian man, and then they had to coexist. They put the what's it called? They put the amphibian man in the tub, and then they had to survive.
They had to put special salt. Yeah, they put
salt in there. But then there's that moment where I think it was one time in the tub, she actually amphibian man touched her, and then she felt something. And then she goes to go to sleep, and then she not wakes up, but she stops herself and then then goes to the what's it called, to the bathroom, and then she disrobes, and then they insinuate all of a sudden she's all naked, and then he stands up, and they're definitely, then they pan away. Then
they didn't pan away. They showed her shutting the.
Oh, the door?
No, not the door.
Blinds.
The shower.
The shower.
Shower curtain.
Yeah.
There we go.
And then they have sex. Well, they don't show it, but they insinuate it. They imply it. And I was like, wow, we're really going there. But
they didn't show anything, though. That's the thing.
They're going there, man.
They didn't actually show anything.
They didn't show anything, but man.
But it made your mind wander,
That's
right?
why Del Toro is freaking awesome. I'm not saying every movie should just have amphibian man and woman have sex, but the fact is that
I mean, I think that should be.
But it's he just there's no he didn't half-ass his punch. He didn't pull a punch back. I mean, he went right at it. I was like, damn, that's some, because if you're gonna have that level of violence and gore, just do that as well. If you're gonna have nudity, just.
But I feel like they didn't show anything though. That's
they didn't
the thing.
show anything, but like subject wise too.
But,
you know.
But also the way he stood up, he was just like, "I'm ready to
I'm ready to go." And so of course with that, Michael Shan's character doesn't want to. Now he's getting messages from high above. He needs to get that amphibian, or else he's out.
And the general is mad at him.
And so he interrogates like everyone who thinks is a possibility. And one of my favorite scenes is when Zelda and Eliza like get called into his office, and there's already a line of people outside. He gets called in his office, and he checks their time cards, and they've already checked out. Like it's proven there they've already checked out like before all that stuff happens. Mm-hmm. All the heist happens pretty much. But then like he throws his interrogation down and tries to one up them. And then this is also after the fact where he tries to make moves on Eliza. So what's really cool is that she starts like sign languaging, and you see it in the subtitles like fuck you, like F-U-C-K, she's spelling that. And then of course, because Zelda understands what's happening, she tries to pull her away, but you see like Eliza just really in this focused angry zone, just signing like.
And she was also doing the flip of the chin, like that Italian like flip off over your chin, whatever that's called. And
then Michael Shan's character is like, "What is she saying? What is she saying? What is she saying?" And then she's like, "He's saying thank you." She's saying thank you. Yeah. And it's like, oh.
I think the acting was really subpar from like that black chick.
Subpar?
Superior.
Oh.
Or I don't know.
That's not what subpar is.
What is subpar? Like, I don't know, great. Like from the black chick, from Eliza, from Michael Shannon. Like the acting was like really, really good.
Yeah, everything was really amazing on this movie. Okay, so then after that it becomes it's a hunt down, it's a chase, and go watch the movie.
I mean, if you've gotten this far,
you
gotta go see it.
So what are your I've already said this at the beginning of it, but I really, really love this movie because there is such a classicness about it that I feel like this movie is pretty freaking timeless.
It's almost like a classic, like more not modern, but I mean like in 2018, like Edward Scissorhands type story too, because you get the love and the crazy stuff and. Murder, whatever. You get like all this craziness like going on within a love story. So to me, it kind of like had a little bit of dash of Edward Scissorhands, a little dash of Amelie in there. And also another shot that was really awesome that was from the very beginning when they show like the fantasy flood. I don't know what the terminology is, but I guess a pan down of camera that go through floor by floor of the building.
There is no pan down.
What is that called?
Panning is.
Right and
I've been having to deal with this left and right.
Okay,
I've been taking this direction for the past few days. Angle up, angle left, angle up. There's no angle anywhere. There's no pan up or down.
You know the shot I'm talking about though, where you have her floor and then it's going down, and you see the exterior.
You can say that you can say it's pedestaling, but it's not panning.
Okay, so I would call it pedestaling down.
Yeah.
So you're pedestaling down, and you see the interior of each floor.
Yeah.
And you see that she's living above a movie theater.
Yeah.
Okay, now from the very beginning, you see that. Now there is a moment also when Abe escapes her tub and she finds Abe in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Now to me, that was Del Toro's nod to be like, hey, I love cinema. Like he's just like staring at a screen.
And she's watching Cleopatra, right?
And it's them two, like alone in the theater. There was no one else in the theater, I don't think, but I don't know why the movie was playing to no one, but it was playing to them.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. That, like, just visually, it was stimulating for me.
And we also get to learn after that scene is that he has, like, healing powers, too.
Yeah. And
healing and growing powers.
And the hair thing, that was cool.
Yeah.
It was also cool when, I guess, they were doing it, in the bathroom, and, like, she let it flood. She flooded her apartment, and it got to the point where the movie theater was leaking. That, like, visually was a treat to see as an audience member. And just so you know, like, it calls back from even showing that first pedestaling down from the very beginning, which I thought was cool too.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's like all these stitches like crossed each other later on, and I just was very pleased with that film, and
you just got right to the...
I mean, it was just very, and there, like, I liked the eggs. Like, to me, that was like kind of an Amelie spoon thing.
Oh yeah, and there's also when
or like what did she have, the creme brulee?
So there's a scene at the end also when they Michael Shannon's character finds out about the Simple Man's character.
The Simple Man.
That he follows him. He's been trailing him because he needs to find the answers of where the Amphibian Man is. And he finds out like where he's been doing his meetup spots with the other Russians. And then the other Russians like turn on him. Like he's there, like we see like the Russians like shoot him twice because apparently they're turning on him. And then Michael Shannon goes and kills the Russians. Like he shoots them and then goes to interrogate
Simple Man.
the Simple Man's character. But what he does was because what happened was the Simple Man gets shot twice. He gets shot in the stomach and then gets shot in the face, and a bullet goes right through both of his cheeks. And then Michael Shannon's character goes and like, oh, he wants to interrogate him. So he pulls his face. He sticks his finger through his face
like a fish.
Yeah,
I was thinking that too. Isn't that crazy? Just like that.
There's so much awesome symbolism in this.
That simple fish grab of the mouth. That was crazy.
This is why this is such a well crafted use of everything in this movie.
And also Eliza's scars on her neck. Okay,
yeah,
I'm just pointing that out. Not gonna say anything else about that.
But if you just pay attention to that, but there's so much. Just everything has a beautiful payback. Everything has a beautiful payoff for this. You know what I mean? Like just visually, nothing like the use of sound is so amazing in this. It tells the story. Visuals tell such a great story in this. The use of color is so amazing. The actors are perfect and diverse. You know, it's like everyone can shine in this movie. It's quite amazing how it's like we saw this on limited release, and I just feel like not enough people are going to see this movie. And it's like, but it's also
I don't even think it goes wide release until like maybe next week.
I guess,
right?
But it's also like a rated R movie. It's like there's violence, there's
I definitely
blood,
wouldn't take children.
There's full nudity. Like this
movie. And then the nipple and stuff.
Yeah, there's sex. It's definitely a full movie.
I wouldn't take anybody under, like, I guess the parental guidelines. I wouldn't take anybody under 10th grade to this film.
And I know we rushed through the story and stuff like that, but I love this. I love this movie. Caroline, to close off with the last, to close off this our review. Like, just what are your highlights of this movie?
So many things. The visuals, the characters. I like how everything really ties together.
You know what blew me away too?
And there's still mystery left to it at the same time. And that's what I love. Like, not everything was like totally told to me. Like, I like to get the main answers, and I like the story and such, but I think it's really nice that there is some stuff left to your imagination, which you're right about. You can let your mind wander at the same time. And to me, that brings like an element of thinking, like I'm doing something to the film, and I'm not just sitting there being like, oh, they blew that up. Yeah. Like, oh, they bombed that, Michael Bay, whatever. And like, I'm not saying Michael Bay's bad, but there is some movies that like you just intake it and then you don't think about it later. But like Shape of Water, it provides enough, it provides entertainment, it provides mystique, it provides...
There was romance in this.
Yeah,
there's romance and there's drama and mystery too.
It was almost like everything I can imagine in one movie.
You know what's really cool though? Because I always throw this back to one of my favorite scenes in Hellboy 2 is when they sing the what's it called? The
Can't Smile Without You. Barry Manilow.
Can't smile. I was like, are we gonna see a little bit of singing in this movie from a mute girl? And we do. They have a musical scene in this movie.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes, it does go full blown musical with a dress and a ballroom.
A full blown musical.
That was very brilliant too. That is true. A musical is encompassed into it. Not only that,
there's everything in this thing. Man.
Literally everything, even a fish man. Because like I think if people know that like fish love is involved, I feel like some mainstream people or like basic people probably will not see this film. No, but it probably will like run them away. You know, like like I can definitely see like most people being like, if you tell them that, they'll be like, why would I see that? You know, like it I feel like just the way people are, they act like they're open-minded, but they're closed-minded, you know? Yeah. So I feel like that will probably turn people off, you know? So in that sense, you know, box office wise, of course it's going to do okay. And this film is like getting nominated for a lot of awards.
Yeah, already critics' choices are just 14, man.
It's 14 like the top nominated.
Everybody got nominated.
It's like the top nominated film, and it's nominated for Best Picture. So I feel like that's going to help it. But from like an artistic sense, I'm like, cool, fish love, go for it. But definitely from a mainstream, like family point of view type thing.
It's a tough sell for the family.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're not going to bring children, but I'm just saying like, for
not even.
But I'm just saying that like, it's not also like that R rating. It's not like the worst film in terms of like, it's so bad.
It's
like,
great.
But I think it's good that it's R rated, but I'm just saying
it's an adult story.
But I still feel like it wasn't like a hard R in terms of like, oh my God, that was too frightening for me. You know,
but if you think about it, it is a hard R.
Yeah, it is.
You don't just have one pair of titties. You have several pairs of titties. You don't just have.
But it wasn't like Wolf of Wall Street level, you know.
Yeah, but also you don't just have like a person being shot. You have a person being shot in the face and then blood gushing, and you have like body parts being cut, and you have, you know, animals getting their heads eaten. You know, if you describe just the amount of graphicness in it, I understand. You know what I mean? And then you're like, and this happened, and then also a lady has sex with a fish. You're like, what?
But I guess what I'm saying is even just the sex with the fish, you know, thing, and like being attracted to a fish, I feel like a lot of mainstream people will not see this film just because of that. And
too bad for them.
And that's their problem.
Too bad for them.
You know, but it is a great film.
Go stick to your Christmas party. The holiday Christmas party movie.
It is probably like the best film of the year so far for me. I know I haven't seen all of the films because that's kind of impossible to see, but out of all the films that I have seen, I will rate this as number one.
And that you want to see.
Yeah, I'd say so. As of right now, this movie right now is my 2018 pick.
Yeah, to me too. This is like, I got this and the Baby Driver are the ones that stick out in my head so far.
I loved Baby Driver, but I just think that the characters could have been taken further. And I think that Baby Driver had a lot of clever, cool things going on with the music and, you know, aligning that with what was happening on screen. I think that there's a lot of cool stuff about Baby Driver, but just overall, just knowing that The Shape of Water encompassed like all the genres that we were talking about, like we were talking about romance, you know, all the crazy action, adventure, heist, pulling, and, you know, like even a musical.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like
there's a heist, there's a musical, there's a fish romance, there's graphicness,
and
there's a mystery.
If you add all those into the recipe, like I feel like that
and it's Del Toro.
That beats Baby Driver, whereas Baby Driver was just, I'm not saying it was a bad film, but it was a great film, but it did what it needs to do really well, but it just didn't take it to that level where Shape of Water is taking it to like multi-dimensions.
But to me, those are my top two of the whole entire year.
Definitely Baby Driver is up there though.
But also like the score of The Shape of Water was so magical. I really love everything about this movie. It
had a vintage.
Who knows how long this will stay with me? How amazing it is. But right now, nothing has beaten this. And I just saw Star Wars, and then Shape of Water just erased that for me. You know?
Well, it's funny though, because if you ask mainstream commercially, you know that Star Wars is going to whip its bourgeois.
Oh yeah.
But that's just the world we live in.
That's the way it is, man. It's marketed like that. But this one has a message. This one has it's almost like two different worlds of filmmaking too.
Mm-hmm. And again, I think that message will drive it home as in history. Like, what did you come away with Baby Driver? I mean, it's a cool film and such, but I feel like Shape of Water did deliver a bigger message too.
So those are strong points. So Baby Driver for editing and everything else for The Shape of Water. Because that editing on Baby Driver is freaking amazing.
Yes.
So I say everyone go out there and watch The Shape of Water and tell everyone else to go watch The Shape of Water. Do everything you can, The Shape of Water. Guillermo del Toro, he hustles, he works so hard to get his vision and his movies out there, and I'm a big believer in that guy. He can make things that are just so pure of heart. And I will always chase to try to make something with pure heart just as much as he has. Though it's scary, though it's dark, though it's crazy, though sometimes there's machines and vampires, she can still capture what, like, the heart of why we're watching things.
And that's why we love The Shape of Water.
That's why. Thanks to you guys for listening to our review and our look at A Shape of Water. This show is brought to you by Astray Productions. Check them out at AstrayProductions.com. Check out my work at JoeCarabeo.com. Go astray.tumblr.com. Also, I'm on the social media at AstrayJ, at JoeCarabeo_photography. Also, check out this song, Run by Monday Mistress. Download them at MondayMistress.com. Download the whole entire album, every song, everything's created. iTunes, CD Baby, Amazon, wherever you can find songs, you can find this one. What do you got, Carolyn?
I have a website. It's www.carolynbelefski.com. I'm on the socials. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. You can catch me at Carolyn Belefski. It's just my name, so Google that and you'll find out everything you need to know. Also, guys, thank you for joining us for Podcember. We will be back tomorrow with an episode. We're doing 31 days of podcasting for every day in December.
And of course, you can find this on CarolynandJoeShow.com, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and of course, my name is Joe.
And I am Carolyn.
Be excellent to each other, everybody.
You're bona fide.
See you tomorrow.